Hello and welcome to another quick look. Me, GamerWolfSix, of another furry visual novel. This one, Minotaur Hotel. A game about, as I'm looking up the synopsis, it's an award-winning LGBT, let's say that, romance story where you'll meet and grow close to Asterion. I think that's how you say his name. A Minotaur of Greek legend, and manage a magical hotel staffed with a cast of mythological beings. In your mandate as owner, you'll be faced with choices, treating the Minotaur humanely or not, dealing with the hotel's magical workings and entities, and getting to know a growing cast of fantastical employees. By sending out teams to explore the valley below the hotel, you'll find ancient artifacts and mementos, which will reveal more about Asterion's past and the realm's history. And by sending them to research and development, you'll unlock improvements to the hotel. The way you treat Minotaur, and is there like multiple Minotaurs? Anyways, the hotel will affect the story, leading to replayable experiences, where each playthrough reacts to your choices and reveals different parts of the story. Minotaur Hotel is the game meant for adults. Blah 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 blah. Anyways, before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. They don't seem to have a Patreon, so yeah, but they do have a Twitter. Is there anything else to do? Oh yeah, if you want me to do a Let's Play series of this game, then tell me, and I'll give it a point which will put it up higher on the user's choice list. And if you want me to do a quick look of any other game, then tell me, and I'll fast track it. Though, now they say that I forgot to put some other game before, this. Maybe at the end of this we'll take a look at those things. New game. Yeah, you might want to do that. Across the sea, you shall find an island of Crete, from which the tyrant Minos demanded tribute in the form of Athens' finest youth. Do we click on it? Upon arrival, they were sent to a foul location erected by Daedalus, the great architect. 'Twas the labyrinth in which lived the bull of Minos. I guess I have to click on the screen. The hybrid was conceived when the tyrant's wife, a once sacred nymph, was stricken by lustful curse, making her take the bull's lurch. Is that what you mean by uwu? Also, wait, aren't nymphs supposed to be lustful in general, or did the nymph come first and then the lustful curse afterwards? The result was the monster called Asterion, half bull, half man, having no place in nature. He took to consuming human flesh. Wait, what? Is that what? Huh. I know, it's been a while since I've, done that. I thought it was he took woos. He lived in the labyrinth, feeding off Athenians. But among the sacrifices came a distinguished hero, Theseus, future king. Oh, the guys from, Hades. Anyways, the bright-eyed Athenian captivated the passions of Princess Ariadne, or something, who revealed the secret to fighting the Minotaur, string. Later, the victorious prince's bronze sword shone splendidly under the sun as he and the princess sailed away from Crete to Naxos. Prologue: The Deed. You don't remember much about that night. Your travels had taken you far from home. Also, how's Greece doing these days? Like, I remember there was like austerity and like things not going well over there or something like that. I don't know. I would like to go there sometime. You're halfway dead after the nights tossing and turning under unfamiliar ceilings. It's 3 a.m. and it feels as if you haven't slept in a proper bed for the last 2 nights. You're pulling all the spirit you had left to keep you going, grinding your mind to dust. But it would soon be over. You were so close to home. Just one more bus ride. One long enough for a good night's sleep. Also, there's like dyslexia mode or something like that. I wonder what that looks like. That's good for dyslexia? I don't know. Until then, however, you had to keep yourself awake. You got up and set out to explore the station. The whole place was a sorry sight. It didn't have much, and what little it had was poorly maintained. The bathroom was an atrocious mess. The lobby's floor was stained with age. The asphalt on the terminals was cracking. I don't know how that works exactly, but, more games should do that, I guess. Sometimes I read some games, and I don't know why I can read some better than others, but it's like, yeah, maybe that's the thing. Like the font choice? Even so, it had been built to last, decorated with brutal obsidian pillars cut right out of the earth itself, and marble tiles polished into labyrinthine patterns. The walls were lined with statues in a grotesque style, their exaggerated expressions locked in wide-eyed screams. The ceiling was covered with lattice reproductions of paintings, Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam, and, a bit up ahead, Picasso's Guernica. The lobby seemed to extend forever onwards, lined on either side by rows of closed-down stores. The elevator music, playing from some unseen speaker, was enough for a distraction to keep you going. A sudden cracking of static broke the song. It found your way into the cafe, populated solely by an old radio and an even older gentleman. I'm old. His skin was paper thin. He held a cup of coffee, and every time he sipped from it, his shaking hands would spill half the contents. The old man's glazed gaze passed over you a few dozen times before he realized you were there. As he looked at you, he patted the stool beside him and shook his hand in your direction. He poured a cup of coffee for you. You sit, hunched over the counter, and take a sip. The breeze of life pours over your face. Never heard of that before. You can even register what it tastes like, and you know right then and there that you're alive and wide awake. You look to your side, to the old man. His face is contorted into some form of distress. Lips quivered as his eyes dart to and fro. He puts a hand over to each of his pockets, face still locked in fear, until his right hand falls over his breast pocket. He breathes a sigh of relief and looks at you. Oh, he's coming closer. He starts talking, but none of the language you understand. He's not even looking at you. His gaze wanders around with seemingly no goal, but eventually finds a thread you can follow. Well, you should have done Duolingo before you went to Greece. I've stopped doing Duolingo all of a sudden. You seem like the traveler type. You remind me of... He hesitates, glancing around, mulling over his words. Yes, you remind me of my younger days. He looks ahead and takes a sip of his drink. You catch the glimmer in his eyes, sudden wakefulness. I was a fool, never settled down, and squandered my one chance at a proper life. I thought the road would always take me in. Stop reminding me of how old I am. I know, I'm just panicking. Ended up throwing away the one place I could call a home. It's been rotting for who knows how long, and now I'm old. Always wondered if someone would ever take over and treat it right. Now, you do remind me of myself, but I wasn't a good man. Hopefully, you don't have a mean streak I had. Well, I'm figuring things out. You wouldn't say I'm a great person or anything, but I suppose I'm finding my way. Is that so? I suppose that's as good as it gets. At least nowadays you can try. Back in my day, my father
treated me like dirt, and no one batted an eye. I saw that happen a lot, too. I wasn't the only one. He made beasts out of my siblings and I, having a father like that. But don't think, uh, but don't you think I'm blaming him? You can only point the finger at your dad for so long, eh? At least eventually, I found my way to make a living. How about you, young man? Have you found a calling?
Yes, I like big men with big wills. Better at crafting contracts. Huh. Hmm. Good for second playthroughs. Huh. I speedrun games for a living, and he's like, "Oh, you poor child." Let's just do R&D, I guess.
Technology? I was never good at understanding all the new things coming out all the time. It was always tough for me. What is this hi-fi people talk about?
The old man rambles in the same language from before. Sometimes he'll stop and stare at you, as if expecting a response. A nod or a grunt is enough to get him going again. His voice becomes gravelier and deeper as the night goes on. It is soothing in a way that even at times he'll again allude to having a rough, sorrowful past. Eventually he stops, and the gaze seems to shine with lucidity once more.
I must say I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid I never asked for your name. What's your name?
Glad to meet you.
No name?
Wait, does it actually just not give you anything? Oh, let me just do some silly thing. Uh, oh, yeah, I guess I couldn't just copy and paste. My name is Asinus.
I'm glad to meet you, Asnus. That is a really weird name, but okay.
The old man's eyes become glazed once again, and his hands start shaking. Coffee spills everywhere, but it's gone cold already.
You seem like a well-traveled man. Oh, traveling when I was young was so difficult. Now, you can be on the other side of the globe in a day or two. Oh, how the world has changed. There was this one time I talked to my brother just about this topic. Back home, there was this vineyard where we spent so many summers eating and drinking. I remember it so well. It was like a moving picture. You know what he told me? When we were young, there was so much wonder and magic around us. It's true. We would walk down the road, a stony little thing from Roman times, and then, when we were children, once or twice a week, we would see ghosts rising from the cairns and cross to mingle about. But things have changed so much. We stopped taking those hallucinogenics. That's one. I think it's technology. Spirits and the arcane don't mix well with it.
Arcane.
Or maybe it's something in the eyes. I got cataracts in bed. My brother used to say, it's because mankind lacks piety nowadays. The unknown is not frightful either. So much mystery has been lost. And so, the bridge with the fantastical broke down.
The old man freezes for a moment, then looks back at you.
Oh, I was rambling again, wasn't I? I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. That's interesting to hear. Science explains a lot. I mean, I am a science guy. I've seen a number of seemingly inexplicable things. Anyone who travels as much as I did will stumble on too many to count, really. But I'm gonna keep my cool and paying attention. Too often, these inexplicable phenomena are quite mundane in origin, like swamp gas. I'm not saying there are people on costumes making hoaxes. Well, actually, yes there are. Or making deepfakes and post them online. But too often, there's a perfectly serviceable explanation elsewhere. You just have to pay attention and unravel the thread.
Unraveling the thread, hey? Now that's quite sharp of you. Reminds me of the Minotaur of Minors. He used a thread to fight him or something. I may believe in ghosts. I do. But I see wisdom in your words. Don't let yourself be tricked. You really seem something special, I'd say. Perhaps you will do. I'm gonna take you to my Minotaur Hotel. Here, I'd like you to have this. I'm sure you'll take better care of it than I did.
The old man takes out a piece of paper from his breast pocket and extends it to you.
The deed for a place I told you about. The one I squandered. I'm old, tired. I'd like someone to have it. I've been looking for an heir for a while now. I don't quite feel like I have any more time to waste. Just take it. It's yours. A grandiose place. A hotel. Time it's taken its toll, but you will love it. Just please, take care of it. Be good. Give him a purpose.
You raise an eyebrow at him. Did this old man just try to give you a hotel just like that? Now, who would do that? An old man. His wandering gaze betrays his senility. At times, he seems outright confused, as if he didn't know how he got here in the first place. You can't take it. It wouldn't be right to take advantage of someone like him. And assuming that piece of paper is a deed, it might just be a used napkin with a nice seal. The old man's gaze wanders around. With his hand still extended, he squints his eyes at you, then looks down at the paper. He struggles to put his thoughts together, but for a brief moment, his expression grows firm and lucid. You must think I'm crazy, but please understand, this is my last chance to do it right. Just take the deed. The old man offers you, except because this might be one of those games where it's like, and then you freeze and then walk away, and that's the end of the game. You give in to the old man's pleas. You're just accepting a piece of paper. After all, it's probably nothing, but if it's indeed is something important, you can try returning it. You obtained the old deed. You check your items, open the menu, and go to Items subscreen. The old piece of parchment looks unimaginably ancient. More than you, that's for sure, but the wax on it seems reasonably new, perhaps even fresh. You break open the seal and examine the paper's contents. It's gibberish, written in an alphabet you've never seen before. Is that what you call it? Well, it would seem like this is all for nothing. You stick the deed in your jacket's pocket. You look back up to the old man. The corner of his mouth wrinkles, and he shakes ever so slightly, but his joy is short-lived. His gaze wanders once again. When his focus returns to you, he furrows his brow, taking in each of your features one at a time. The old man mumbles to himself, takes a sip of his coffee, and smiles. You're very kind, young man, Asterion. He does remember your name at least. Well, he's better than me, I guess. You check your wristwatch, and the numbers, too, have turned to gibberish. You take it, you spend too long here. You collect your luggage. Say your farewell to the old man, and thank him for the wonderful coffee. He bows subtly at you. No, Asterion, it was I who ought to be grateful. It was a pleasure dealing with you. And I disappeared. You leave the cafe and make your way to the bus terminal. The station is deserted, save for a single man smoking a cigarette outside the cafe. You greet him with a nod and responds in kind. Aside from the old man, he's the only person you find. Maybe you ought to be expected at this time of night. You make your way through the empty station. There's no one to greet you at the boarding platform. The bus is so dark, you can barely make out the driver's silhouette. As soon as you sit down and recline, you try to process the night's events, but your thoughts skitter away. It's so hard to say for sure exactly how long you've been traveling. All the airports, truck stops, train stations, and ports mixed together. The restlessness of unending travel is the only constant, as it doesn't take long for you to give up. A merciful warmth seeps into your chest as you fall asleep. Chapter 1. La Hotel. A few days later. I'm in America! The horizon spirals across the stained windshield. The radio's tune has disintegrated into static. The AC can't keep up with the sun's heat on the car's roof. The desert stretches on, the entire horizon ahead. A wasteland of flat, yellow plains. I guess this could also be the Middle East. To the right, about 100 meters from the road, a dusty soil gives way to a sharp cliff. The valley peeks out beneath it, stretching into the blue horizon. You check the deed again. You couldn't read at first. Maybe you're too tired. But now, the once gibberish characters make sense to your brain. Okay, so what is this character's background? Because it was traveling. I thought maybe I don't know, on vacation or something like that. Or maybe kind of homeless or something. Or wanderlust. But now he's like, well, I was given this deed, might as well check it out. It's like reading a language that had branched from your native tongue a few centuries prior. It was just alien enough to be unrecognizable at first. However, when you squint hard enough, you find that the characters remind you of your alphabet, and then the word's meaning pops into your mind. It's unsettling in a way. It feels as if your brain is shifting from the inside out the more you look into it. But try as you might, it's hard to even acknowledge this discomfort. It melts away in the blink of an eye. You squint at the deed. Just an hour or so ago, you had checked it and realized how close you were to the address. And so you got into your car and set out, with newfound curiosity and a nagging anxiety, fighting it out in your chest. Maybe the old man really had given you something of value after all, not a worthless scrap of paper. Could it really be? You got the deed for a hotel from a senile man in a cafe? Sure, not many would complain about getting something free like that, but at the same time, most would argue it feels wrong. The hotel should be just farther ahead. You turn on the engine and set off again. It pops up on the horizon just 5 minutes later. A while later, you pull into the gravel parking lot. It's big, but it also kind of looks like, one of those places that was half built, Because it just looks like concrete. It looks like, it's like looking back in time at what must have been one of the greater hotels of the 30s and 40s. It's built entirely out of marble. It has an Art Deco style. It's majestic, grandiose even, but utterly ruined by age, and made eerie by its surroundings. Who thought building such an incredible place in the desert would be a good idea? You look into the infinite horizon behind you. There's nothing aside from the hotel. No plants of any kind, no cacti, no brush, or even dead trees. Only a hotel in the middle of a desert, built on top of the cliff's wall. No animals either. The sky is blue, without a cloud or a bird of prey in sight. The ground beneath you has no bugs, not even a scorpion or spider. There are no cars on the road either. You look back at your car's panel. The odometer indicates that you've driven about 4 miles. The car's hood is cool to the touch, as if it had been off for hours. You look back at the hotel. As you think about all the details, something catches your eye, however. A porch overlooking the valley beneath the hotel. The valley stretches on to the cloudless horizon, framed into the right and left by more cliffs. Looking down to the bottom, You can just make out the outline of a dry riverbed stretching out. You notice there's a cave opening in the cliff wall right below the hotel. This exit is lined with statues and details of which you can't make out at this distance. Right outside, there are rocky tiles spreading out in pathways. You'd wager, I guess, it was made for a labyrinth of sorts when the river still flowed. The maze ends with a single pathway leading to a mountain mound, which would have easily stood as an island in the middle of Flood Valley. The region's terrain is much like the hotel. It may have been beautiful a long time ago, but it's eaten away by time. Your reflection is broken as more pressing matter sneaks up onto you, the heat. Regardless of the weirdness around you, there's no escaping the sweltering sun. Okay, we need to R&D some AC. Getting around. You walk to the entrance. The doors are unlocked. It's hard to tell how long this place has been abandoned. The building itself surely is old. The exterior is severely decayed. It wouldn't be surprising if the interior was teeming with wild animals, rotting walls, and fallen pieces of ceiling. Instead, it's just dusty. Humid and stagnant too. Okay, we gotta leave then. The walls are water damaged and there's a lot of mold. However, it's not as bad as you would think. You call out and hope anyone might be there. Maybe some squatters, but just like outside, there's no signs of life at all in the hotel. You walk up to the reception. The counter is as dusty as you expect, and there are pens and yellow pieces of paper strewn about. It seems whoever was here left this place in a hurry. Who knows how many years ago. There's a door behind the reception desk, which leads you to a small but dignified office that seems to have been left under a similar state of hurry. There are even portraits on the table, showing black and white pictures of a smiling family. On the corner of the room, there's a rusted safe. I guess the desk first because we probably don't have a thing for the safe. On the desk is a ledger. Like everything else in the hotel, the pages are yellowed and wrinkly, but still readable. It contains a list of guests, their respective rooms, check-in and check-out dates, signatures, and so on. The last guest arrived back in 1944. To be more precise, someone attempted to check in on the date and was interrupted in the process. All the following pages in the ledger are blank. You find a second leather-bound ledger as well. This one has staff written on it in flaking gold paint. It lists all the employees in the hotel during 1944, the country of origin, role, and a few have stars scribbled beside their name. This place employed quite a number of people, more than 50 in fact. There doesn't seem to be anything else you can deduce from the ledger. Investigate the safe. It's one of the old-timey safes you'd see in the movies back in the 90s, with the sprawling dial and all, or spinning dial. You prepare yourself to try and crack the password, except that it's unlocked a bit rusty. There's only a stash of booklets inside it, or passports, all from different countries. Well, it looks like one's from Asia, somewhere. One from, I don't know, the Soviet Union, another from another part of the Soviet Union, I guess, and then I'm not sure what the blue one is. Unsurprisingly, they're all expired. There doesn't seem to be anything special about them. But strange that someone would keep passports in an office like this. You take a moment to go over the ledgers and passports together. A cursory glance reveals a pattern. The passports are from the 4 employees with stars beside their names. You take them with you and leave the ledger on the table. You obtain the passports. You return to the reception to continue looking around. Up ahead is a tall spiral staircase going both up and down. A staircase that goes up and down? There are multiple paths branching out from the lobby. You take one of the hallways, lean down to the bedrooms, and finding all the doors unlocked. Much like the lobby, the bedroom's rotting walls were consumed by time. Walking into them disturbed the fine mist of stagnant spores and dust, which has turned into a curtain of diamonds by the sun shining through the windows. Each bedroom was equipped with at least one king-size bed. The springs were busted more often than not, and the fabric yellowed, but not even such desolation would hide the past glory of this place. You returned back to the hallway, which seemed to stretch forever onward. Or forever forward? From outside the hotel, had a big, but not entirely sprawling enough to have a ground floor with over 100 bedrooms. No matter how many twists and turns you took, the hallway never wrapped back into itself. Backtracking all the way back to the lobby was the only option. The spiral staircase seemed much more inviting and wandering than seemingly endless hallways. Yeah. Why are there 3 sets of staircases? Over the staircase, all the way up, there was sunlight, draping the sun's warmth over your shoulders. It was a lighthouse, guiding travelers to a once majestic hotel. The way down was the ominous way, as ominous as the skylight was graceful. The marble handrails were lined with burnt-out lamps. It was impossible to see how much darkness was down below. The second floor was mostly bedrooms again, but there was the outer hallways were lined with sprawling windows showing the courtyard behind the hotel, close to the cliff's edge. So wait, there's actually greenery around here? And puppy. It was a sight to behold. While the hotel was consumed by time, the gardens outside had flourished. It was a field brimming with white flowers, swaying in its stretched desert wind. At the center was a statue of a man and a dog. The flowers rose up to the man's knees, and only the top of the dog's head could be seen. The man's hand was outstretched, as if beckoning for flowers to grow taller, and for people to approach. The garden seemed a more inviting adventure. You sent back down the marble staircase, brimming with clarity, and it felt like a cloak, or hug, was draped over your back. You took the hallway, leading further downwards to the hotel's back, and a single turn to the right brought you to a vast room. Right beside its entrance was a bar, and to the left tables, couches, and reclining chairs. Further left, there was a tall window of stained glass, like the ones in the cathedral, and through the glass door besides the window was the garden. The wind blowing through the garden sent out a long, continuous whistle. From this low angle, the statue seemed like a king, tall and humble, beckoning his dear subjects. The flowers swayed back and forth in the singing wind, and the dog's head was barely visible above them. His ears were perked up, and his tongue lolled out from his grinning mouth. Behind the statue, beyond the courtyard, was a railing overlooked the top of the valley, into the valley below. As you walked around the statue, you noticed out of the corner of your eye that the dog seemed to have turned its head to follow you. 3 dog head. You looked back. The statue hadn't budged, but indeed it was gazing right at you. You parted the flowers and walked up to it, and that's when you noticed the dog had 3 heads, one staring forward, one looking off to either side. Is he supposed to be Hades then? All 3 of them exuded warmth. You petted one of the heads and noticed how worn the marble was. People had been painting him for a very long time. You then made your way to the cliff's edge. Once more, you were greeted by the valley. Straight down, far below, you could see the statue-lined cave exit. You could only wonder how vibrant this land must have been ages ago, when the valley's river was still flowered. You go back inside, into the vast room. It seems dark, but intimate, now that your eyesight is used to the exterior's brightness. You can still notice the whistling coming from the outside. You take a seat at the bar. This newfound darkness is smooth, soft as velvet. It's like being in a candlelit lounge. Behind the counter, and bottles of fine spirits are still half filled. They glimmer in exquisite browns, reds, and blues. You close your eyes and imagine how this place was decades ago. The whistling shifts again. It turns into a hum of human life, footsteps and breathing. Chairs are being dragged, cutlery and plates clinking, laughter, whispers, people greeting each other from across tables. People dressed so nicely. The barman in front of you serving the finest drinks you can imagine. He knows your name and how you like it. Whether you're tired or brimming with life, he lends you an attentive ear. You open your eyes and you're back in the abandoned hotel, majestic and destroyed. Once you understand why the old man wished to pass it on to someone who could care for it. You tap your jacket breast pocket, making sure that the crumpled parchment is still there. Even the yellowed stained paper exudes warmth somehow, or now. You stand up and walk out. As you do so, you notice a large purple stain on the floor behind the counter, and the glass shards of what used to be a wine bottle. You proceed further into the hotel. There's a lot to see still. All the way down the hallway, a set of sliding doors beckon you. But from afar, the difference is clear. The wallpaper is ripped, and one of the doors is cracked. You step on something hard, a revolver bullet. You push the door to the side and are greeted by an even more chaotic sight. It's the hotel's restaurant. The tables are overturned, and both chairs and plates lay broken on the floor. There's a darkened stain in the middle of the room, which trails into the kitchen. Spooky. It leads you past the pantry and into the massive iron door of a cold room, which is locked from the outside and boarded up. All around the kitchen, things are strewn about. There's even a pan on the stove, with what must be fossilized food. That's not how food works, or fossilization works. And the sink is filled with dirty dishes. On a nearby counter is a revolver covered in thick dust, and you think back to the bullet in the hallway and the stain in the restaurant floor. The old man wasn't kidding when he said he wasn't a good person. You check your phone. Perhaps you need to call the police or a morgue, but there's no signal out here. You breathe in, preparing yourself for a terrible sight. The rest of the door fights against your will, but stands no chance. Darkness pulls out. The stench strikes first. It is a stagnant smell of blood and rot. It clings to your nose and mouth like bitter oil. Before your eyes can adjust to the darkness, a second wave of stench hits. It's like a farm too. The scent of dusty fur, maybe even hay, but cooped up in the hot, humid room for decades. And, last but not least, stale shit and piss. This place has it all, the stench of 1,000 different deaths. The light pouring into the cold room shines on the floor in front of the doorway. Empty cans of soup and glass of jam are strewn about all over the trail of old blood. Whoever was locked in here didn't die quickly. The cold room extends into absolute darkness, the hallway in and of itself. You proceed, scraping your shoes on the floor so you don't trip over the refuse. The entire floor is covered in discarded glasses and cans. Whatever scraps were left in them has long rotted, dried, and crumbled to dust. Both your footsteps and breathing echo. The overwhelming humidity drapes across your back, and your breathing becomes agitated. The stench is stronger. Your sight finally adapts to the dark. At what might be the cold room's far wall, you notice the faintest glimmer. How is he still alive after what, 40 odd years? Though, I don't know, magic. Whatever it is, it's slouched on the floor, motionless, as if it died or it stood, after who knows how long locked in here. A shy blue glimmer, however, flickers where its left eye ought to be. Salmon corpse, I guess? Your eyesight is used to the dark now. The distant pillar of light, bleeding from the doorway, is enough to avoid tripping on the distant discarded glass. You crouch in front of the thing. It has a bull's head. You look around its neck, searching for a zipper or edge of a mask, but there's none. It's covered in fur, aside from patches of sickly, exposed skin. It has hooves instead of feet. Its horns could easily gore a person. He does look like Al Gore. Sorry, Simpsons joke. Half of his skull is exposed. The bone has a smattering of blood dust near the remaining flesh. Oh, so there's like skull there. Left eye socket is empty, but something shines inside it. A blue ember. The fur is coarse and unkempt, but can't hide how deathly thin the creature was. It died from starvation, not from whatever destroyed its face. That's enough. You stand up and turn back to leave. As you do so, your rustling clothes and echoing steps break the current of silence. That's when you hear it. The breathing is faint, as moth wings flapping. You look back to the corpse. The blue flame flickers at you. Its chest expands and contracts. You take a step forward, and the spark follows you like an eye. What do? I don't call out. You set your gaze on the thing, trying to read its torn-off face. Can you understand me? It barely reacts to your voice at first. Your words sink to it and crawl into its head, dig their way into its mind, and then twist until it wakes up. Like a butterfly coming out of long sleep, the thing's remaining eye shifts back to life. It nods at you. Man, we're gonna have to really work on this guy to get him to, be lively again? What are you? I'm the hotel's keeper and prisoner of the labyrinth. His voice is raspy, nearly a string of grunts booming through the room, inconstant with his disheveled body. His remaining eye frowns. And you're the master now, which makes me your servant, bound to your will. I cannot disobey your orders. This thing cradles its head between its arms. Its voice comes out muffled. If you wish to know what thing I'm a hybrid monster. About my sorry state, the previous master did this to me. And, as your servant, I shall answer the questions. He remains with his face hidden for a while longer. When he does look up, he stares at the exit and not at you. He squints with his eye and raises a deathly thin arm over it. He scuttles an inch to the side, so your shadow covers him. Why were you locked in here? Why are you locked in here? It is what the last master saw fit. He shot me, then commanded me to stay here in this room. But, as you can see, I am undying. It only hurt. I cannot be killed. I can only presume he expelled all the guests shortly after, and now the hotel must be in a sorry state, as am I, or I am. He locked the door as well, but his command was enough. I cannot disobey, so I had no way out. I am a prisoner, after all. Let's go through the list. You're a prisoner, but you're also the hotel's keeper? His eye narrows, and ear droops. Yes. I was sentenced by the gods to spend eternity here. I cannot fight my killer, and for such meekness, I was condemned. Oh, I did not fight my killer. Huh. The gods made this land, which they called the labyrinth, to house me in my damnation. The master is meant to be my torturer, and to that end is given control over the land. But there was a master who believed the labyrinth could turn into a soothing place, and that I could tend to it. So, by his will, I became the keeper. By the god's ancient command, the labyrinth attracts those who are lost and have nowhere to go. They became our treasured guests. He closed his eyes for a moment, lost in a daydream. What about your life before you came here? What was it like? Master Jean-Marie told me it became a matter of legends. I was born from a queen who had an illicit affair with the white bull of the sea god, Poseidon. I was raised in the court of King Minos in Crete, who took me as a son, even if I was much worse than a bastard. But eventually, my sister demanded I be sent away. Master Minos acquiesced. Mother spoke not, so they shipped me off to my first labyrinth, alone, with just an axe for company. I stayed there for years. Until one day, the warrior Theseus came for my head in rebelling against father's reign. He was prepared to fight me, but I had nothing to live for, so instead, he provided me with mercy. As you can see, the previous owner attempted the very same, but I cannot die. Not this time. I only lost some flesh. And the hotel's guests. His eyes flicker madly. Why the previous master do this to you? The creature recoils, sinking further into the fetal position. Being a monster is reason enough for damnation, master. He chose to return the labyrinth to its original purpose, I presume. His bony jaw opens and closes, chewing on nothing. Does one need a reason to follow the will of the gods? It hardly matters. Regardless, I cannot die. His open wounds stand out as he speaks, alongside his manly flickering flame. They are glaring enough to be visible from afar, even in the darkness. How can I help your injuries? He exhales sharply at your words. His face sinks between his knees. Master need not worry about me. I cannot die, and it stopped hurting a long time ago. The skull feels no pain. What truly hurts is thinking about our guests. For all this time, I wondered what happened to them. Oh, sorry, reading odds. I hate reading odds. I hope they found belonging elsewhere. Who lived here? I guess I could just do this. What type of people used to consider this their home? Just about anyone in need. If fate saw fit for them to stumble here, orphans and runaway children, homeless wanderers chased by their parents, shell-shocked men seeking respite, those who have nowhere else and no place to call home. Before the last master took over, the hotel belonged to a man who fought in the First Great War, Master Jean-Marie. He saw fit to bring in those displaced by bloodshed. His eyes falters for a moment, and you hear a little cracking. The hotel was glorious then. Master Jean-Marie survived the first war, but not the second, so his brother inherited the hotel and saw fit to enact his will against me. You pull the hotel's deed from your breast pocket. So it's this that makes me the new master? Correct. The ownership of the labyrinth was transferred to you. I always know who the current master is and his name. You've asked all your questions. Another one comes to mind now. What's your name? What's your name? He hesitates before answering. His burning eye shifts ever so slightly. The master holds the right to pick my name, but if it's your wish to know, the one I was given at birth was Asterion. Asterion the Minotaur, adopted son of King Minos of Crete. Asterion looks up to you as he speaks. Perhaps in the distant past, those words, adopted son of King Minos of Crete, brimmed with pride. But today, they drip with nostalgia and hope of a man who, for the first time in decades, utters his own name. For a split second, his remaining eye reflects a strand of light from the outside, He realizes then how tired, thirsty, and hungry he is. But it doesn't matter. After all, he cannot die. As a servant, his duty takes precedence. The Minotaur readjusts his kneeling position. The cracking of kneecaps bounces off the cold room's walls. He bows his head to you. The bond between jailer and prisoner is born from the deed, while that between master and servant is willfully chosen. The will master hear my oath of servitude? You raise an eyebrow at the skeletal Minotaur's gesture. You cannot muster a response. In your silent, the Minotaur glances up at you. He starts shaking, barely able to hold his hands together. His lips tremble in anticipation. Master, the labyrinth was designed to torture me. The Minotaur's voice cracks. For the first time, you notice the tail thrashing behind him. The oath of servitude is what keeps at bay. Please, Master, allow me to recite it, and take me into your service. You can only nod in response. With your authorization, he's able to proceed, after a minute, to bring himself together again. By the provisions under the statute of Joseph the Merciful, the prisoner of Asterion pledges loyalty and servitude to the labyrinth's master. The prisoner is made keeper of the hotel above the valley, and is bequeathed all the power to realize the master's will. The master, in turn, binds the labyrinth, forbidding its malicious entities from leaving said valley. The realm was energized to torture the prisoner. Indeed, its mission shall be accomplished. The prisoner shall carry the burden of servitude, but shall not suffer the labyrinth's wrath within the hotel's territory. The prisoner, shielded by his master's will, is made safe as long as his duty is fulfilled, under the terms of the statute. Asterion dares not look up at you. Once he finishes his oath, his silence is broken only by the drops of sweat from his trembling face. This is a lot of information to take in at once. If you want anything from me, you'll have to explain things a little better. For starters, gods? Are you telling me the gods are real? Yes, pardon me. I failed to consider the times. The gods. They are, or perhaps were, quite real. I cannot know for sure the specifics, but they seem to have disappeared. Back in my time, they were quite present among the lives of men, and more often than not, mortals were worse off for it. I don't know how long I've been here, nor what changed since then, but from the stories I heard, it seems that most traces of the supernatural have vanished from the world of the living. Does that answer Master's question? Not completely. Were the gods like, hey, how about we just go, hey, let's find food and water for both of us? It was rare for mortals to know them personally, but the consequence of infuriating them are plain to see. The pantheon was respected, but above all feared. They are not merciful. You can see for yourself, they sentenced me here. This is a lot to take in, if I'm honest. That Greek gods are real, or at least were, is kind of life-changing. Are all other gods real too? All others? I do not know. I believe many of them were. Yes. I cannot know for sure, as I do regard the gods from my time. Were there other Minotaurs? No. I was the only one. Never saw or heard of another Minotaur in all those centuries. There are other supernatural beings, and few have appeared in the hotel, here and there. Some were staff members, even. But they've grown so very rare as of the last few centuries. But no Minotaurs. Why haven't I seen them any elsewhere then? Do they live in the woods, isolated from civilization? Back before I got locked here, they used disguises. They passed as regular humans by using a charm. But I wouldn't know if that was still what they do today. And this oath you were talking about, what does it mean? It's what protects me, my lord. There are creatures in the valley. They cannot harm me inside the hotel, as long as I'm under the master's service. previous oath remained for as long as the hotel remained without a master. With your arrival, I made vulnerable again. Please, allow me into your service. Will Master Asterisk take Asterion as servant under the terms of statute? I guess so. Very well. Assuming you're speaking the truth, yes, I accept you as my servant. Your words bounce off the walls and slither the way out of the cold room. The light dripping from the door behind you falters. Your shadow, draped over the Minotaur, flickers and shifts slightly. The world itself shudders under your words and responds by slithering into a new shape around you. Asterion still looks down, his frame now slouching further forward and no longer shaking. My gratefulness knows no bounds. I shall not disappoint. I may be in a sorry state now, but I'll be quick to recuperate. If Master so allows, I will take my leave. I need only a trip to the infirmary to patch myself up. He raised his head ever so slightly, glancing at the doorway. I'm still unable to leave the room until you command me otherwise. Offer to escort? Undying as he might be, the Minotaur's body is atrophied, so he won't go far on his own. You need down to his level. Despite the darkness, you can make out his scapulin and sagging skin. Can you walk on your own? Asterion averts his eye by looking down to his legs. Master ought not worry about me. I can make it to the infirmary on my own. I've been through worse. He won't look up at you. There's just a hint of pride in his voice. Command to accept help? I'm sorry, I cannot allow that. You're in no condition to walk anywhere. You'll let me take you there. That's an order. He remains with his head bowed, looking at his kneecaps. He sighs deeply, shoulders slouching at the same time. When he speaks, he pronounces every syllable with cold sharpness. I obey. The Minotaur's skin and fur is deathly thin. He shouldn't be heavy. You could carry him, but that alone could hurt him. Can I find you a wheelchair around here somewhere? The infirmary ought to have one. It's one of the rooms further down the corridor. You tell the Minotaur to wait here while you fetch it. Right as you're leaving the destroyed restaurant, your vision falters. For a fraction of a second, the world goes black. Infirmary turns out to be a door immediately after the restaurant, and you find a slightly rusted, moldy wheelchair thrown in front of the door. That'll do. Asterion waits where you left him, although now he's back to curled up, his face covered by his arms. A single remaining ear flickers as you approach, but he says nothing, either in gratitude or protest. He's as light as a child, certainly no more than 20 kilograms. He grunts and shudders under your contact. Would that be 50 pounds? After helping him into the chair, you notice one of your hand is covered in dark red blood from touching his back. I think with that, and we're getting close to the thing, we're gonna call it. So, yep, that's going to be the end of this quick look. It seems an interesting game. I would like to play it some more. So I guess I'll put it out of the personal list. But if you would like me to play a Let's Play series of this game, then tell me, and I'll give it a point which will put up higher on the user's choice list. And let's see. If you want me to do a quick look of any other game, then tell me. And I will, fast track it, quote unquote, into the quick look thing. Though that's not going to be the end of this thing. I think. Oh, if you want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io as the least of this recording. But let me just take a quick look to check if anybody was like, you should check out this other game, so I could probably check out that other game. Let's see, there's that. There's that. I guess we'll see if I can find this one. as long as name. Balls! God, I fucking hate when that happens. When I'm like, I'm gonna look for something, and then I type it in on like Google or whatever, and it's like, you cannot do that because you have VPN on. And I either have to sit there and wait or whatever. Yeah, let's see. We'll download it. If I can? Yeah, there it is. And I think. Do. But yeah, let's close this one up. Boop. And put it in the quick looked thing. And we wait for 36 seconds or something for stuff to happen. Just gonna look over here. No stuff happening. Where's my mouse? I don't know why sometimes like I'll move my mouse thing about and it doesn't, it doesn't move the mouse on the screen, and then as soon as I click it, it's like, oh right, you moved the thing. I have to, get all the thingies you saved of your movements. Though also sound warning for when I open this, just in case it's like, loud music and, I don't have the thing down. What is it called? Okay, since somebody picked this, I'm quick clicking it. Like earlier than just using a random number generator. I should probably put a point to it, And have this thing go. There we go. Game is still work in progress. It's help, I got lost and found a village full of ... monsters. Sound much quieter? But yes. Game about, as I'm looking up the synopsis. If you're reading this, then it means you found a journal that I left behind. I was surprised when I found out about this place. A village full of monsters? Who could have expected this? Especially in our world where monsters are considered dangerous and need to be constantly monitored. Survival of the fittest, I guess. There's so many places that really caught my attention, and I think you'd like them too. Not only they helped me with myself, but each of their... Fuck, I can't read. But each have their own thing to make them feel more than just monster in the forest. And there's a list of colorful characters. Are they supposed to be like guys from Monster Hunter? Because one or two of these guys kind of look familiar. I've never played this game, but they kind of look familiar. Okay, it's a Monster Hunter fan game. Okay, I was like, yeah, these guys look familiar for some reason. Anyways, I think that's everything. If you want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io. They have an external Ko-Fi thing. I don't think they have a Patreon. Where do we have that sometimes? Sorry. I bit my tongue again. Balls. And until next time, me, GamerWolfSix of some other game. I'll be in this one. So thanks and see ya.